So, a lady was killed an hour from my house by an ICE agent yesterday. That's concerning. It's weird. I don't really know what to think. It's like, I always kind of thought there was going to be a civil war in our country. And it feels weird it's happening in my state, potentially. I don't know what to feel about it. It's like, and I don't know what to believe. And maybe you guys feel the same way. It's hard. It's like there's multiple views. It feels like, a few years ago there was like, is the dress, I forgot what it was, like gray or blue? And people were like, it's gray, it's blue, it's gray, it's blue, it's gray. It's like, it depends. All sorts of stuff, how you're looking at it, what cones are in your eyes, and like what screens you're looking on. And then now it feels the same way. There's like multiple angles of this I'm trying not to call it a murder, but this death happening. And it feels very divided, and it's scary online, especially because it's close. It's too close. I mean, it's kind of happened over COVID, where all that George Floyd shit happened, and there was riots downtown, and people were like looting Target because for some reason, I don't understand why Target, right? Like, oh man, I should have got a haircut. Like, why, like, what did Target have anything to do with it? There's just a bunch of fucking shithead people out there. And this feels kind of the same way. It's like, well, what video did you see? And like, what side do you kind of fall on? Do you like support this ICE thing, or do you not? And it feels like everyone's trying to force you to pick sides, right? And it's very goofy. Or there's probably a lot of gray to it, right? Like, I don't know if my stance should even be on this. I feel like I should just not talk about this and talk about my trip to Key West. Maybe I'll just do half and half. But I wrestle with that. It's like, there's a lot of people coming at you trying to say, like, they support ICE and everything they're doing, and there's a bunch of illegals here, and they shouldn't be here in the first place, and these are consequences for being here. And there's something to that. And then there's the argument on the other side. Like, they've been here a long time, and they have kids here that are now legal, and you're just ripping them away from their parents. There's something to that, too. And then it starts to become like an argument, right? Well, then they can go back to the homeland or to where they came from with their kids. This is what happens. And then maybe I'm just have a soft spot for kids. It's just kind of tricky, right? But I also understand that if there's a lot of illegals, a lot of people here using resources from the system, it's kind of like everyone pitching in $5 for Thanksgiving dinner, right? There's like, I don't know, 20 people, they all pitch in. That's not enough money. You get my point. There's like 5 people, or there's like 20 people pitching in $5. They all come to dinner, right? Expecting whatever. Just bear with me on this. And then a bunch of people who weren't invited or pay their $5 to come in and eat the food anyways. It's just kind of stretched thin where maybe people don't get food or they don't get enough. And I do understand that side of it. Do I understand you should be ripped out of your car? Do I understand you should be dragged in front of your kids? Do I think you should be going into a school system and pulling teachers out of class in front of more kids? Again, I think I have just a soft spot for kids. Like, they didn't sign up for this or make these decisions. It's very, very weird. And I don't know the whole story. Don't listen to me. I'm ignorant to all this. It's happening close to my house. An hour drive away. Less than an hour drive away. And that's scary. It's like, I wasn't going to talk about this, and then it happened yesterday. And it has me worried, because I have 2 little kids. And there's people a town away. There's ICE agents a town away. And all these communities, these like Facebook communities, are saying ICE is in town, trying to warn everybody, which also feels strange and weird too. Like, it's very weird. And then when you read the comments, like they're divided. Some of them are calling this ICE agent a murderer, and then on the other side, they're calling this lady someone who tried to kill the ICE agent. And then there's like the president saying that he has absolute immunity, and like and I don't know what to believe with this. Like there's AI in media, and it's so easy to manipulate things. And as like someone who kind of tells stories for a living, and was trying to be a marketer for a while and realized it was kind of gross, it's very easy to spin or pick a side and make it go that way, and it gets people fighting, right? Which it seems like in the last 20 years, 15 years, that's all anyone's been trying to do is get people to fight with each other, because it creates conflict, and conflict creates engagement, and engagement stays on these platforms and keeps people manipulated. And when I think about it, I haven't even seen any of this happen. It's all been online and in the news. So part of me wants to drive there and just see what's going on. And then there's another part of me that now realize I have a couple kids. I don't know if I want to. I don't want to get caught in something stupid. There's a lot of emotions going on right now. I just don't feel safe. And that's scary, not feeling safe in your own home, and then trying not to have your kids feel like that either. You know, it's weird. And I've read some things I've seen, and I don't know again what's true, but I read that the ICE agent was dragged by a car a couple months ago and ended up getting 30 some odd stitches, so he was quick to grab his gun. And that makes sense. My wife's in law enforcement, and so when she was going through law enforcement school, they talked about always being prepared that the worst could happen when you pull up to somebody on the road. And she's like, it's scary. You don't know if they have a gun. They're going to try and kill you. You don't know if they have a weapon. You don't know who you're approaching. And I was like, yeah, you don't. And then we had like talks about, yeah, isn't it kind of weird if you go up to a window with that mentality? It forces you to do things differently. It has like a weird filter on you, and you respond and react differently. And that's weird too, right? So if that is part of this situation, I can see why the guy reached for his gun really quick. I've also read that these people were getting 5 months of training at one point, and they dropped it down to 47 days, the ICE agents. And that feels weird when state officials, when Carrie was going through school, needed a minimum of 2 years. And a lot of them would only get hired if they had a 4-year degree. Also kind of strange. So I don't know what kind of people are being hired. I don't think anybody really does. From what I've seen, they all seem very aggressive. But on the other side, is that all we're being shown? Are they not all aggressive? I don't know. And then there's this whole other side where I have been around a lot of police officers, a lot in college, where they want to be cowboys, right? They look forward to, like, when do I get to grab somebody? When do I get to throw them to the ground? When do I get to use some of these cool, I don't know what they're called, like, not weapons that will kill you, but weapons that will, like tasers and rubber bullets and things like that. They like look forward to doing that, which is also somebody you wouldn't want to have use any of that shit, you know? All the older guys I've talked to, that whether they had it at one point or not, they don't want to use. They want to do everything in their power to not use any of that stuff. And talking to Carrie, she's like, I'd rather use my words 100% of the time. And so she makes a really strong effort in using her words to lower conflict. And she's been very successful with that. So it's weird. But then on the other side, you have this woman, and again, I don't know all the history behind it, but I was like, well, what is she doing there? Why is she in the middle of this anyway? And again, what I've heard or read a little bit is that maybe she didn't live here. Maybe she did. I don't know the answer to that. Someone said she came up from Missouri. I don't know if that's true. There's a lot of people calling her neighbors, and so maybe she was here. And this is where it gets really tricky. I don't know what's accurate anymore. And then someone said she was blocking traffic from these federal agents for a long time, which also creates conflict. And then just watching the video, I don't know if my opinion even matters, but I guess I didn't see her trying to hit the guy. I just saw her trying to get away. And then the argument with that is, if you have a law enforcement officer telling you to stop and get out of your car, you obey, you listen. But I wrestle with that too, because we're kind of in a weird place, right? And I'm going to go to extreme here when I think about Nazi Germany, and there was Nazis telling you to obey and listen and do certain things. And then, are we in a similar place right now with that? Are we in a place where, how do you question authority without authority kind of kicking you in the dick or shooting you, And then the narrative being spun on both sides. There's a middle in here somewhere, but it's very tricky and hard to find. There seems to be a lot of extreme shit happening, and when people's emotions are high on both sides, decision making isn't very accurate. It's not very good. And we've talked about this in other podcasts. Is if you are in flight, fight, or freeze, your prefrontal cortex is turned off. The part of your brain that helps make strong decision making decisions. It's associated with memory, all sorts of the good things about how to logically and rationally respond to things. If everybody's brains are turned off, they all kind of turn into monkeys, right? Probably less than monkeys, and they're just reacting instead of responding to things. And I do have sympathy for these ICE officers told to do their jobs. They're probably just trying to make money, for their families too. And people are fucking chucking ice and snowballs at them all the time. So if that's constantly happening, if people were throwing snowballs at me constantly, I'd probably punch a motherfucker in the face eventually. How many snowballs can you take? I don't really know. People calling you names and shit like that. It's a shitty job. It sounds shitty. It sounds really bad. Patience wears thin. And I understand this a little bit as a parent, where you say no 47,000 times and then you're just fucking no. Just don't want to have to say the same shit again. And so it's very messy on both sides. It's an unfortunate someone died because of this. And then the dark side of me is kind of wonder, next week, are we not going to think about this anymore? That Charlie Kirk thing went away in 2 weeks, and that was an assassination, which is weird. That all feels weird too. There's a lot of weird shit going on with that. And then President Trump stole Venezuelan guy. And now this just happened. There's so much crazy fucking shit happening that it's hard to know what to do except want to just turn your phone off, turn your screens off, and not pay attention to any of it. And I think I'd probably do that if it wasn't so close. And I keep saying this because I think there's some stuff from COVID with all the looting and the fires and all that stuff happening where it kept going south, and I'm south of the city, so it just kept getting closer and closer and closer to the point where I'm when do we have to leave? I don't don't have that answer. It's very weird. Is it going to get to us? I don't know. But there was some worry and fear there. You know, like I was in fight or freeze. You know, wanted to flight the fuck out of this place. And with 2 kids, it's easier to be like, man, we're fucking going. We're out of here. I'm dealing with this bullshit. It's weird. It's very weird. But also, and this is kind of funny. The mayor, I don't know if you saw this, said, "ICE, get the fuck out of Minnesota." And then he was put on the news, and the news people were more worried about him saying "fuck" in his press conference than anything else. And I found that hilarious. And he brought that up because I did a whole podcast on this, right? He literally said, "If you're more worried about me dropping an F-bomb than someone getting killed in the streets, that's the problem." And I went, yeah, you're worried about word or sounds coming out of his mouth that you assigned meaning to, but you are obviously that meaning is more emotionally charged to you than someone getting killed. It's fucking insane, man. And I laugh because it happened again in Key West. Someone goes, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I love your messages." And I'm not going to call this person out or anything, but they're like, "You don't have to swear. You can get your message across. You don't have to swear." And I was like, sometimes I do. You know, and I don't know what he was hoping. I think he was hoping maybe I'd say, "Okay, I will never swear again." But instead, I was like, some people like it, some people don't. So how do you take feedback when it comes to that? You know, just follow your own light, I guess. That's kind of what I said. But yeah, I'll admit it. I'm scared. I'm scared. And because my wife's in law enforcement, I'm scared for her and us. And because it's so close, I don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, there's been talk about the National Guard being pulled out for Minnesota, and then we got federal agents. Like, I don't even know how that fucking works, man. It's like, will there be some kind of weird war thing happening here? Does it start in Minnesota, where we have like the quote of Minnesota nice? It's like fucking crazy. And let's talk about like Minnesota just a little bit. It is kind of weird, right? We had the George Floyd thing. There was a lack of trust in law enforcement officers. That Chauvin guy was guilty, or he went to court and was proven guilty, and was put in jail, right? And some people are saying, well, he was put in jail because if he wasn't, there would be more riots. So that's weird too. It's hard to know again the truth. But for argument's sake, he was brought to trial and found guilty. And so the state's already kind of weary of law enforcement or authority at all because of some weird shit that happened around COVID. And now this stuff's happening again, and there's a bunch of people saying, why would you not listen to a federal agent? And it's like, well, we've been through this. Like, we're a step ahead of most people. Not us, but the state has a history of weird shit happening with law enforcement, and now who cares if they're federal versus state at this point? That's kind of... We have a weird history. And I keep kind of going back to, like, when do you decide... When do people decide to follow through, right, or obey, which is what a lot of the comments online are saying, or to challenge authority? I mean, I keep going back to the Nazi thing. It's like, well, what if they don't? Well, you might get killed, so just obey. Well, then they continue to do what they're doing. And then it's like, well, what's the right and wrong side of history right now? And it's hard to know if you don't know what's going on because there's a lot of propaganda going on. You just don't know. No idea. I just know it feels fucking weird. That's what I know. So, I've been kind of depressed because of it. Not just that, but I got back from Key West. I went to Key West, and it was the first pole vault thing I've done in years, since before my kids were born. I think the last thing I did was like a camp at one point. And yeah, I called hibernation. And so I decided to go, and I almost didn't go, and then I decided to go, and then I almost didn't go, and then last second, literally in the morning, we woke up at 3 o'clock, and Carrie was going to go drive me to the airport with the kids, and Amelia woke up and goes, "Can I go, Dad?" And I was like, "Oh, you can't go, you know." And she's like, "Can I go, please?" And Carrie goes, "Oh, Shawn," or she keeps calling me Shawn now. She calls me and Carrie by our first name, Care and Shawnee. She goes, "Shawnee, I go on an airplane with you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go by myself this time." She goes, I pack Woody and Jesse. And she opened my suitcase and tried to pack her Toy Story toys she got for Christmas with me to bring me in the to put in my suitcase so I would have them with. And then it broke my heart. I literally at that moment was like, "Man, fuck Key West. I'll just eat the ticket and we'll stay here with my 2-year-old daughter who wants me to stay." And I tried to have a talk with her. It's like, "Hey, Woody and Jesse need you to look after her while they're here. Can you look after them while they're here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so we get in the car, and she was crying when we got to the airport, and I left. And again, almost sat in the car and didn't go. Didn't really know what to expect, just feel like I've been so out of the pole vault community for a while. I didn't even know the elites. It's like, I don't know if I'm growing away from it more so than not, but when I got there and the meet started, I ran a clinic the first day, and I just didn't know if I'm still relevant in the space. You're out of it for a while. I'm still posting stuff, and I have this book, and everything, but I just need to know what I'm doing is having an impact in some way, shape, or form. Because if I'm just doing shit and spinning my wheels in the mud, I'd rather leave. I'd rather do something else. So that's why I decided to go, just to see if I was still helping people, I guess, in this space or not. What I found during the clinic is some people said some really nice things to me. Again, I won't say names, and I feel really uncomfortable talking about the things they said. I'm not good at accepting compliments, but some of the nicest things I've ever heard. I've been out of it for a while, and a bunch of parents came up to me, more so than kids. In the past, it was a lot of kids, and in the past I had a vlog, and I would post a vlog every week and talk about fart jokes and what's going on in the pole vault community and review videos and things like that. And then had kids, and it's impossible to make a video. I can barely get a 30-second Instagram post out now. It's just really hard to find time to sit down for even an hour. Where making a whole vlog is 6 or 7 hours on top of filming. And so a lot of the parents who have bought the book or trying to figure out the sport, or new coaches, came up to me and were saying really nice things again. And, "Hey, these are the videos I've been sending you." And they'd pull their kid over and be like, "Do you want to get a picture?" And "Yeah." And so, "Oh, you're the Team Hoot guy," So it was kind of cool to, I guess, find out you're making a bit of an impact, And I think the part that was really cool was I didn't know many of the elites. And when you're in it, it's like, "Oh, those are my people, those are my friends." And you kind of learn that over time, if you're doing something really fucking weird, right? Like pole vaulting, when you find other weird people, or when you find other people doing that weird thing too, you're bonded for life. It's nobody gets it except this person, right? It's kind of like what I talked about yesterday about suicide. It's if someone's been in that place, you fucking see them. You see that person, you know them. And pole vault's the same way. It's oh, if you've tried the sport, we try to run with a stick and jump over a stick. I know that. I know what they're trying to do. I get it. I know what it feels like to end every meet on 3 failures and then come back and try it again, only to end on 3 more failures. Every single meet, you fail 3 times. And that takes, not a lot of people understand that, right? So when you find that community, it feels really cool. And that's, pole vault's a very, very small community. And it's really special, actually. And then the next level of that special is if you get to that elite level, because that small group of people is even smaller, where you're like, I feel like I'm holding back on life while I try to do this thing. I am going to live with my parents and make no money a year for years, trying to master this running with a stick and jumping over a stick thing. I might break even, and that'll be considered a good year. But I'll travel the world. I'll figure out what it's like if poles don't make it to a meet overseas, maybe in Europe, and you have to use borrowed poles. I know what it's like to train for 9 months and then get an injury right before the biggest meet of the year. I know what it's like to feel like someone paid for you to go to their meet. They got you a hotel, they're paying for your food, they flew you here, and you feel this extra pressure to have to perform for these people. All for what? To lose money every year? And money's not everything, right? But this group of people all like understands that, and that's just the top of the pyramid of the pole vault community. You know, you got like the high school kids and coaches, and then you got college, which is a smaller group, and then you got the fucking elites, which is really, really small. And so you're there, right? And I don't really know the elites currently. You know, I really haven't been paying attention like I used to for the last 2 years, having a daughter and now a son. And so I was kind of nervous, like they don't know me and I don't know them, you know. And a lot of them they did know me, and they accepted me right back in because I've been in their shoes. And they recognized it, you know, and so it was fun because it just felt like it always has with the group of elites. It's like it doesn't matter who the faces and names are. It's like that there's this really cool bond there. And after the meet, which has always happened, you go out and you hang out. You go do some kind of shenanigans, and it's always fun. It's always like very memorable. And this year, everybody went and ate. And then we went and did karaoke. And I don't really do karaoke, but watching a lot of the elites and current elites do karaoke and see what songs they would pick was pretty fucking special. So like the Gatorpson brothers, Mike and Jill were there. You saw like, I don't think Chloe was there singing karaoke, but I met Chloe. She was great. And Tori was really awesome too. Just a lot of really cool people. And then I met some new friends, which were really special too. And I sung karaoke. I've only sung karaoke one other time. And Jack goes, "Hey, we're gonna do this. What song you want to sing?" I was like, "I don't know. If I sang, I'd probably do Tequila." And he just started laughing. He's like, "Let's go do it." It's like, "Nah, man, I'm good." He's like, "I'm gonna write your name on this," and he's like, "I'm gonna do it with you." And so right before we left, we went up, and it was uncomfortable as shit because you're just staring at everybody while nothing's happening. And then you say tequila. I counted it 4 times. Tequila. It was just fun, man. It was memorable. It felt easy. That's how the pole vault is. I talked to Annika's, I think, boyfriend, and he asked Annika what time the meet was the day before, and she's like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. And he's like, no, so he went up and looked. He called a bunch of people. He's like, here's what time the meet is. Here's what time you need to be there. Here's what time you need to eat. He's like a planner. And I'm like that most of the time, too. It's like, I just kind of want to know when everything is. But But then I find like when I'm with the pole vault community, the elites, it's so much more fun just to wing it because shit's just happening all the time. You just kind of jump on the flow of life. You know, you jump in the river of life, and you just let it go. You let it take you where you need to, and you just know that you're always going to get to where you need to go. And I always have when that happens. But it's uncomfortable at first because you're just on a raft and it's going, and you just hope it works out. But it does. It does. It always does, and it's super fun. And I met some other people. I met a lot of people who I haven't ever met before. They've just all been online, so it was kind of really special to put a face to their names, you know, in the conversations we've had in the past. And a few of them talked about listening to this podcast, which kind of blew my mind because I just assume nobody really listens to this. It's just me rambling a lot and just getting my thoughts out and trying to be consistent. And that was actually really special to hear. It kind of put a little bit more fire on this to get this out because I've been kind of in a low since I got back, and I've been putting this off, and I haven't been wanting to make it. And then I always feel better when I do. So it was a good trip. I came back though, and back into this different routine. I miss my kids a lot. It's like, how do you? I kind of want to. I don't know if they just have to be older or not, but it was like, I would just love to have that freedom, like within the pole vault community, and bring my kids into that and just kind of go sometimes, or maybe more so than not. But it's like at home, there has to be like this. Feels like there has to be this structure and to get their food in and their naps and feeding, and like Carrie has this work she has to do all the time. And I don't. But if I don't schedule shit out, like Team Hoot starts to dwindle and fall apart. So it's weird. I guess I'm trying to say it was a really, really good trip. It made me realize I need to get out of hibernation more. Because for at least a day and a half, I came back just on cloud 9. And then I think all the shit started happening around Minneapolis, and I don't like it. But yeah, I think that's enough for me, guys. I'll try to get these out consistently again. I don't really have anything on the radar for a long while now. So thanks for listening. Life's meant to be experienced. Curiosity will get you there. Bye.